Why do we carve pumpkins, dress up as monsters, and demand candy from our neighbors? It might seem like a modern night of fun, but the traditions of Halloween are rooted in a festival celebrated 2,000 years ago, when the veil between the living and the dead was believed to be at its thinnest. Here's the history of how an ancient Celtic New Year evolved into the holiday we celebrate today. 1. The Celtic roots. Samhain. The origins of Halloween trace back to the ancient Celtic festival of Samhain, pronounced Samhain, celebrated around November 1st. For the Celts, who lived 2,000 years ago in the area that is now Ireland, the United Kingdom, and northern France, Samhain marked the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter, the darker half of the year. A night between worlds. Samhain was a liminal time, meaning it was a threshold between one year and the next. The Celts believed that on the night before Samhain, October 31st, the boundary between the world of the living and the world of the dead became blurred. Ghosts and bonfires. It was believed that the ghosts of the dead returned to Earth. While some spirits were welcomed, others were malevolent. The Celts lit massive sacred bonfires to honor the good spirits and ward off the evil ones. Costumes and disguises. To further confuse and repel the malevolent spirits, people would wear costumes and masks, often made of animal heads and skins, to disguise themselves as fellow spirits. 2. Roman influence. After the Roman Empire conquered most of the Celtic territory by 43 AD, they blended two of their own festivals with the Celtic celebration of Samhain, Feralia, a day in late October when the Romans commemorated the passing of the dead. Pomona, a festival honoring Pomona, the Roman goddess of fruit and trees. The symbol of Pomona is the apple, which likely explains the origin of the tradition of bobbing for apples that became associated with Halloween. 3. The Church Christianizes the holiday. In the 8th century, Pope Gregory III designated November 1st as All Saints' Day, a time to honor all saints and martyrs. The evening before it became known as All Hallows' Eve, meaning Holy Evening, which later evolved into the name Halloween. This move was a deliberate attempt by the Church to absorb and replace the pagan Celtic festival with a church-sanctioned holiday. However, many of the Samhain traditions, like bonfires, costumes, and a focus on the supernatural, simply merged with the new Christian holiday. 4. Halloween comes to America. Halloween traditions were relatively limited in colonial America due to the rigid Protestant belief systems of New England. However, it was much more common in the southern colonies. The holiday truly began to spread across the United States with the massive wave of Irish and Scottish immigration during the 19th century, especially during the Irish potato famine in the 1840s. They brought their versions of the holiday and its traditions with them. Guising and souling. The tradition of trick-or-treating is a descendant of medieval European practices. In Britain, souling involved poorer folk visiting the homes of the wealthy on All Souls' Day, November 2nd, receiving soul cakes in exchange for promising to pray for the souls of the family's dead relatives. Guising, practiced in Scotland and Ireland, involved young people dressing in costumes and going door to door, offering a song, poem, or trick in exchange for a treat of food or money. 5. The birth of modern Halloween. By the late 1800s and early 1900s, Halloween in America was becoming a community-centered holiday, but it was also marked by widespread vandalism and pranks. Taming the holiday. In the 1920s and 1930s, town leaders and newspapers pushed to tame Halloween, turning it into a family-friendly celebration to discourage destructive behavior. Community parties and costume parades became common. Trick-or-treating. By the 1950s, trick-or-treating as we know it, a way for the entire community to share in the celebration and appease potential tricksters with small treats, had become the standard practice for children across the country. From an ancient fire festival to ward off spirits to a modern night of candy and costumes, Halloween has always been a way for humans to confront the mysteries of darkness and death with community, celebration, and a little bit of fun.